Okay, everybody, I recorded as much as I could of this little adventure getting wood today. I didn't get everything, but here you can see the ash tree that I'm after, and it's the one right in the middle of your screen there that is the top fell off, and you can see the top is resting in the canopy over there. And that's just a big ash tree that has died and broke off right in the middle. So here's a close-up, and you can see the D-shaped holes from the emerald ash borer. Um, I assume this has got to be an ash tree. I'm not a total tree expert. It takes many, many years of tree identification and tree work to identify trees, but that looks like a dead ash to me. It's got D-shaped holes in it. You can see the tracings from the ash borers underneath it. The bark looks like ash. The inside looks like ash. So I'm going to say that's an ash tree, and that's the first one we're going to tackle. And you're not going to believe this, but my camera cut off right when I cut that thing down, but it's not really that important to see, so I missed that. But after I cut that tree down and got it all bucked up, I realized that my wheelbarrow is kind of loose and missing some bolts. This thing's been around for a long time, and the people at the store assembled it, but several of these bolts are loose and one of them is missing. And some of those carriage bolts, I haven't really taken a real close look at it, but there's carriage bolts. The one up at the top right of the screen that goes through the wood handlebars, that one is rusted and stripped and spinning around, and it's a carriage bolt. So I didn't flip the wheelbarrow up and look at it yet, but that's going to be something to kind of undertake there to get that thing if I want to secure it, and I may just leave it alone. But anyways, I got that fixed, and here's a picture of the Osage Orange that I'm getting. And the trees that I'm seeing back here I think are mostly male Osage Orange. If you research Osage Orange, I believe there is a female and a male, and the females are the ones that make the hedge apples, and these are males that have the thorns still. But here's a chart of the Osage Orange BTUs, and I mean, most people don't realize how good of a firewood it is, but there's really maybe one or two woods that are even better or hotter than Osage Orange. I believe almond wood is right up there with Osage Orange in comparison of the BTUs, but there's not really much more. I mean, everybody loves oak, and oak's great and everything. Osage Orange it burns very hot, and you want to go ahead and split it when it's fresh, because once it dries, it is very difficult to split, and it's tough on your chainsaws, but we're going to go after some of it today. The next order of business is getting this chain sharpened up. When I was bucking up that ash and cutting some of that Osage Orange, I think I nicked the dirt a couple times, and the Osage Orange is tough on the chain, so I'm going to take a quick minute and file this chain. And I'll probably go ahead and speed this up because it takes about 20 minutes, but I might show this video in long form and talk about sharpening at another time, and I'll also try to post a link for the files I'm using if you're interested in the file sizes and stuff.
Ooh, yeah, that's sharp. Okay, that was done.
So you can see right there how sharp I'm getting this chain. I barely just touched it, and that thing was like a razor blade. So it's getting sharp. This is round filing, but yeah, my finger's bleeding now, and I cut it open on that tooth just trying to check it. On with the show. I did take down the rakers a little bit on this saw, but I didn't record the whole thing, so here's just a little bit of that. So here's part of an Osage Orange tree. You can tell by the contrasting color of the sawdust how it looks kind of yellowish, greenish in comparison to those larger logs, which are ash, and they're pretty white and light colored in the middle. Just another side note on this while I'm cutting, I think I kind of developed a bad habit of not really revving the saw all the way, and it just cuts so much better if you just put the pedal to the metal and just let it rip. But I kind of have a bad habit of not squeezing the throttle all the way and just working it through the wood. And I think it just does a lot better if you just go ahead and give it full juice and let it rip. But I do that more towards the end, and I've been starting to do that more. But I did kind of notice that I am not squeezing the throttle all the way. So that's why this saw, if you're a saw expert, it may sound like it's not revving all the way or whatever. It's just because I'm not squeezing it all the way. So this tree here, actually, I'm not real sure what it was. This is a standing dead tree, and it is really good firewood, and it's dry and hard and no bugs or anything. But it has no bark on it, no leaves, no nothing. I mean, if you know what that is, let me know. But you'd have to be really good to know what that is. There's a little bit of bark on it if you can zoom in, but so this is just some dead standing hardwood, and it's very difficult to split this wood because it's dry and stringy, but it's ready to burn right now. I mean, you can just take those smaller rounds in and throw them right in the fire, and it's ready to go. So that's good to have for this year, because some of that Osage Orange hopefully will be ready by next winter, but it may take really 2 years to get it good and dry. So we're about done with the cutting and bucking, and that was just a Stihl chainsaw. They don't make it anymore. It's an 025, which I think is a 46cc. It's not a huge saw, and I would like to have a little bit bigger of a saw, something like a, whatever, 24, 25-inch bar, somewhere in there. But my father gave me that saw, so it kind of means a lot to me, and it was passed down, and it was his, and they don't make them anymore. And it is a strong saw. It does a good job, and I haven't really run into anything that it's too big for yet. I mean, you figure, I think it's like an 18-inch bar. So I mean, if you cut 18 inches on one side and move to the other side and do 18 inches again, I mean, that's over 36 inches of tree trunk size. So that's pretty good sized tree. I'm not dealing with anything that big. It hasn't been a problem. That saw's been getting the job done for me, and I keep using it. But here you can see, this is some of that dead standing stuff that's just stringy and dry, and it's really tough to split. I've been working with it since I shot this video too, and you can really see the comparison of how hard this is to split compared to fresh wood. I mean, even the freshly cut Osage Orange that I have splits. I mean, the axe goes right through it compared to this dry, stringy stuff. But that Osage Orange tree was falling over at the stump, and I mean, it was still alive, but it was just basically it was in loose dirt and mud, and it was just kind of falling over out of the it was uprooted. So I mean, I think it probably just became uprooted this year, so it was still pretty much alive, but it wasn't doing well, and I went ahead and it was just a small little tree, so I cut that one up. And most of the stuff I find is dead standing, blowdowns, ash trees that are dying, that type of thing. These pieces right here, though, are the bottom stump pieces of that dead standing tree, and they were still kind of wet inside, but they were really pretty tough. And the rest of the tree, after you got about 4 feet off the ground, it wasn't wicking up any more water anymore or anything. Like I said, it's bone dry. It goes right up in flames. This little area of my yard takes a lot of abuse. There's a sprinkler system under there somewhere, and I always think about it when I'm doing this, but I'm actually not sure if the line runs right there or not. I think it might run out further, but yeah, it's under there somewhere, and that's a kind of a wet, mushy area right there, and I mean, it takes a pounding every year, so I haven't broke anything yet. We'll see what happens. So here I just switched from that axe to a maul with a wooden handle, just something a little different, and I've about had enough of hand splitting for today, so I think in a minute I'm going to bring out my little electric hydraulic splitter and use it for a while. But I'm sure you got some entertainment watching me deal with the stump of that tree there, and the electric splitter that I have wouldn't have handled that anyways. It's just a small little deal. It does really good, I mean, for what it is, but I mean, I don't have a really nice, 25-ton splitter or anything. I think it's just like 5 or 10 tons. This piece right here looks like it was a little bit too long to fit in my splitter, so you get to enjoy me doing this by hand. So those are some bigger pieces, but that ash will burn no problem. Yeah, see, the maul I was using is a little bit overkill for this ash. This splitting axe I've been using is doing pretty good, and say what you will, but that composite handle, whatever it is, I don't know, it's not fiberglass, it's some type of strong polymer plastic or whatever, but that plastic handle, knock on wood, no pun intended here, has been doing really good. I mean, I've had that thing since 2003 or something, and I beat it up pretty good. It doesn't have any nicks in the handle or anything, so I like it. And here I am turning on this little splitter. This is really all you need for that ash anyways. I mean, it's going right through that ash. This splitter is just so much easier to use, and there's no problem splitting this ash with that splitter. So I'm just going to kind of sit down and rest my back for a minute and do some splitting. This is Osage Orange though. You can tell by the color how yellow-green it is in the middle, and the splitter handles it no problem as well. You can kind of tell how these things grow though. I mean, they're really crappy little trees. I mean, they make great firewood, but they twist and turn and just grow all over in every direction, and they have thorns on them. I mean, there's one that's encroaching all over into my backyard, and it's kind of trying to grow towards the light, but I mean, it bows way out in the other direction, the trunk does, and then it comes over into my backyard like a rainbow, but the branches are zigzagging in every direction, and it's all tangled up in the canopy and everything. And I'd like to get rid of that thing. I mean, some of this wood, I trimmed some of the branches off of that I could reach, but it's just all tangled up in the canopy, and it's twisted and growing in a weird direction. And it's also hanging right over my fence, so if I try to cut it down and it doesn't go well, then it's going to fall on my fence and damage it. So I just haven't messed with it yet. These pieces obviously aren't that big, but I'm going to go ahead and split them in half because I want to get them hurried up and dried hopefully before next year. I mean, I'd like to burn this next year, so even these kind of smaller rounds, I'm just going to split them in half, and hopefully that'll help them dry out real fast and get that job done over the summer. Now I'm moving on to that ash tree trunk that I showed at the beginning of the video. The splitter has no problem with that, and I'll probably speed this up a little bit because I have a lot of footage of that, and I don't think anybody really wants to sit here and watch that for an hour, so probably speed it up, but enjoy the footage. And this is just a picture of where I'm at with my wood supply going forward as of this video. And I'm going to be adding to this. So I'll add more YouTube videos of the next time I get wood and update on the situation.